Live Tuesday, September 12th from the BMW of Atlantic City Studios. This is Fantasy Dominance Now. Come dominate fantasy sports with us, and bringing you all the tools to dominate is Soap Stash, the new soap standard. Like them on Facebook, Soap Stash LLC. Find them online, soapstash.com. And for ordering information, call 844-890-3197. From the best soap in the business, we are the best fantasy minds in the business. Happy Waiver Claim Tuesday, everybody. Thank you ever so much for joining us, both on YouTube and Facebook Live. We got the wily Brian Daly.
What's up, what's up?
We got savage as fuck Doug Pitchford over here.
Woo!
And I'm your humble captain, Rob Povey. Mike Kleinkoff had to miss today. He was day-to-day coming into the show with a chipped tooth. He was downgraded to out shortly before showtime. He had to get into the dentist. So, you know, you're hearing with us in spirit there, Mikey.
If you didn't take him out of your fantasy broadcaster lineups, I'm sorry.
Anyway, we're all here to guiding you to fantasy dominance thanks to Matt Cinsudi in the producer's chair. Now, if you want in on the dominance, a few ways to do that. Like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter and Instagram, and subscribe to our YouTube channel. You search HUDradio.com. If you got fantasy questions, comment here on the book or tweet us with the hashtag AskFDN. I'm at Robbie, BLTZ. Doug, you are at
StatMagnet85.
And Brian, you are at
Brian_HUD Radio.
No matter what the handle, to station us individually, just be sure to hashtag AskFDN. We'll get to your questions live on the show, or if it's after the fact, we'll get you set up to dominate. Speaking of the show, we got a great one in store for you, as always. Want to ask you, did you make the fantasy baseball playoffs? First off, congrats. Secondly, now the real work begins, folks.
Damn right.
We are getting you prepared to win a championship later on in the show. Who would have thought, even as recently as last week, that Zeke would play in week one while OBJ does not?
Well, not OBJ not playing, but this guy did.
Yes, you did. Yes, you did. We'll take a look back at the whole wild week one in the NFL. But first, pressure stale for week two in the NFL, covering great and horrid plays for both DFS as well as league play. We asked you on Facebook and Twitter, who should be your number one waiver claim priority for week two? Should it be Kerwin Williams, Tyreek Cohen, Austin Hooper, or none? I love the team I drafted. Why divert from it? You can vote now. You can comment now. We'll get to the poll results later on in the show. So who's your guys' number one waiver claim? Any of these options? Let me not say top. Any of these options or another?
For me, it depends on format. Obviously, in a PPR format, I mean, Cohen's definitely up there. You could tell by his usage on Sunday that, you know, he's definitely going to see quite a few snaps. I believe he was out-touched by Jordan Howard by 2.
About that.
So, you know, with that type of touch distribution between the two running backs, they're basically equal opportunity owns. That being said, obviously Jordan Howard's the goal line back for the touchdowns, but I do like Cohen because I do like Cohen a lot because Chicago is going to be playing from behind a lot.
Yes.
Therefore, he's going to get a lot of usage. But my guy's not on this list that I would recommend to go out there and go grab now.
And I'm glad he isn't because it's a guy that's worth mentioning.
Absolutely, and that's 2 girls, 1 Cooper Kupp.
We're on the same page there, bro.
Yeah, Cooper Kupp is legit, man. I thought this kid was going to be a standout. I drafted him in a couple dynasty leagues. Didn't draft him in any of my regular leagues only because I wanted to make sure the usage was going to be what I thought it was going to be before I tried to go out and pick him up. So I based my draft on just drafting those positions strong. That way, if I needed to pick him up, I can, but I don't need to.
Right.
But I'm planning on it, though, because the kid looks legit. I believe he had 8 targets.
He 6 targets, tied for the lead for the Rams, pulled out like 78 yards receiving and a touchdown.
Yeah, beautiful touchdown, by the way, in between 2 defenders. Nice grab, nice route that he ran, too. He's a very clean route runner. That was his thing coming out of college. He was a very prolific college player. I don't see that changing in the NFL based on what I saw on Sunday.
Pretty much the only reason why I didn't put Cooper Kupp on the list was me personally. I drafted him late in a league, and I figured maybe a lot of people out there with all the preseason hubbub that he was getting and sort of connection with Jared Goff that he would go. But looking back on it before the show, he's available in a vast amount of leagues, Doug.
Yes, he is.
In Yahoo alone, he's only owned in 28%.
Yeah. According to ESPN, if I could find his percentage, because I didn't have that pulled up off the top. But yeah, he's not owned a lot.
Well, he's looking that up, Brian. Who are you going after this week?
Same guy, Cooper Kupp, and the people commenting in on Facebook Live so far, they're going with Tariq Cohen. Tom Arnone going with Corinne Williams in Arizona, with David Johnson going down.
I think if you're a David Johnson owner, I think your hands are tied.
Yeah, that's a must. And honestly, I wouldn't even necessarily go Kerwin Williams because I didn't like what I saw with that offense at all. They're another team that's going to be playing from behind quite a bit.
Right.
And that defense is not as stout as we've seen in past seasons with the big loss of Calais Campbell going to Jacksonville. And we saw how important he was on Sunday in that huge win for the Jaguars.
Yep.
So yeah, I actually wouldn't even go with Kerwin Williams if you need to pick up an Arizona backup. I'd grab Andre Ellington.
He's going to see the bulk of the play from what I'm seeing. Brian Wilson going with Tariq Cohen, Greg Malakovich, Williams, but Cohen is a 1B in my eyes.
I could see that. I mean, like I said, I mentioned Tariq Cohen first. I mean, there's a reason for that. Kid's is legit. Like I said, he's going to be a very, very good player, especially in PPR formats.
Yeah.
He's going to be he's a must-grab guy.
Well, I mean, if you're going to go based on what they're putting out there, they're saying that the next man up is Kerwin Williams, and granted, some of the things you said there are accurate, especially with that offense being subpar. I know a lot of fantasy players that have avoided Cardinals altogether this year. I per se couldn't. I had David Johnson. I obviously got to keep David Johnson from last year. And I did have some of these concerns, but I figured he could rise above that. Now that he's hurt, Kerwin Williams isn't that guy that could rise above it. So you may want to look for a completely different team to replace that running back. That being said, I think if you're going to go for his handcuff to replace him, based on what we're hearing, it's Kerwin Williams.
Agreed. No, based on what we're hearing, he's definitely going to be the early down back, probably get the goal line work.
Mm-hmm.
But like I said, I think because they play from behind so much and that defense isn't as good, I'd rather go with the pass catching back there. Because we saw it on Sunday. He played 20 snaps compared to the other two backs, who I believe played a combined 11, if I'm not mistaken. Because I think Kerwin Williams played 7 or 8, or had 7 or 8 touches, or played 7 or 8 snaps, and then the other back played about 2 or 3. That they had on their roster. So, yeah, he was on the field for a majority of the snaps once David Johnson went out.
Yeah, I didn't watch much of that game, unfortunately.
Yeah, neither did I.
It was for a good reason. It was my nephew's birthday, so I had a little birthday party for him or whatnot. If there's any reason to give up the first Sunday football, don't get me wrong, I rushed home for the 4 o'clock games and for the and of course, Sunday night game. But if there's a reason to miss football, La Familia. You know what I mean?
Well, I was building a shed, so.
Listen, I was just watching other games.
I just wanted to touch upon the poll because it does have implications into our Fresh or Stale for week 2. We're definitely going to get to much deeper analysis on waiver claims that are available tonight for tomorrow morning later on the show. Now, that's going to be on YouTube. Our first segment only is on Facebook Live, so if you're following us on Facebook Live, as soon as we're done, there'll be the link there. Go right over onto the YouTube and catch the latter half of the show. So, speaking of which, Fresh or Stale for Week 2 is being brought to you by Gibson Mayer LLC, your certified public accountants. Give them a call, schedule an appointment, 215-369-3300. Gibson Mayer LLC's tax advice, always fresh, never stale. See what I did there?
Truth be told.
So who wants to lead it off, guys? We're having a much more in-depth Fresh or Stale this week. We're going to give you a couple different options for each category. We'll start off with the quarterback position.
Yeah, I'll kick it right off. I really like Alex Smith again this week. I think that he's got a lot of pressure on him with the very, very talented Patrick Mahomes behind him. I think he's rising to the occasion. He's the ultimate competitor. That was the one thing that was never a knock on him, was this kid's heart and his toughness.
Right. And
he's just showing it. He did to do what he did in the second half of that New England game, which I didn't even expect. I knew it was going to be a close game.
Right.
I did think it was going to be that way, and in the first half it definitely was. But, man, the second half of that game, I did not see that coming out of him. I was very impressed. So, yeah,
you and the rest of America. Well, I was going to say the rest of America, but nobody was really watching Thursday night. The ratings were a disaster.
Yeah, well, hey, man, a lot of people were very upset with the league.
Yeah.
A lot of people were voicing their opinions. Ratings as a whole were down for the opening weekend. These were the lowest ratings in over a decade.
Correct.
For NFL opening weekend.
Correct.
So yeah, they've lost a little bit of that buying power, so to speak. And it's not just like some of the issues, with the Colin Kaepernick thing and the players kneeling thing. It's not just that, but that is a part of this. But it's also the product itself. The product itself is not as good as it's been in decades past.
Hashtag fire Goodell.
No,
He just got extended.
Yeah, he did just re-ink. No, hashtag let them hit again.
Yeah, let them hit again.
Like,
they could celebrate again. Why can't they hit again?
Yeah, I mean, like, look, you want to get rid of the head hunting and the headshots. Fine, I'm good with that because that is a dangerous part of the league. You're gonna get somebody killed that way, like actually die on the field. But like, I'm sorry, but Devontae Burfict cracking somebody over the middle that doesn't see it coming and he comes right in his core. I have no problem with that.
Nor should you.
No, I have no problem with that. I want to see that, in fact, because that's what made me love football to begin with.
To make football great again.
Seriously.
Absolutely. Who else you got for fresh, Doug?
Oh yeah, I got him. I love Jared Goff this week. I like what he did last week. I think he's going to expand on that against probably the worst defense in the league right now in the Washington Redskins. I did not like what I saw last week against Philly. And that being said, Philly left a lot of plays and a lot of points on the board on Sunday. I don't think Jared Goff and that Rams offense is going to do that this week. I think they light it up. And to throw one more out there, believe it or not, for as tight of a defensive game as that was on Sunday between Green Bay and Seattle, scoreless by the first half. I believe there was only one touchdown scored in the game, or
Correct.
2 touchdowns scored, in the game. That being said, I think Matt Ryan is going to light it up in Green Bay. That defense is very porous. They're absolutely atrocious defense. I think that product of that low-scoring game on Seattle's part was a lot more conducive to the offensive line and the lack of protection for Russell Wilson than it was the actual skill and quality of the defense he was playing. So those are my guys, man. I think all those guys are going to be top 5 scorers this week.
Yeah, no, agreed,
With
man.
confidence.
That secondary still is piss poor. Go on.
I agree. I especially agree with one. I agree with Alex Smith versus the Eagles. Ronald Darby being out, I think, hurts that secondary. Just what he did against the Patriots defense was, I thought, it was rather impressive, considering, reigning Super Bowl champs. He's got a lot of speed on that offense to play with. He knows Andy Reid knows of many different ways to attack a defense, and he showed that on Thursday night. And it's like you said, he's playing with a chip on his shoulder. He can lose his job at any moment to Patrick Mahomes.
Yep.
He's already done it once. He's lost the job to Colin Kaepernick.
Oh, yeah.
Can't forget that.
Yeah,
You can't forget
I completely forgot
I know the
about
Niners don't forget about that.
Yeah.
I'm sure they wish they kept Alex Smith at this point.
No.
I'm just saying. I'm not married to that idea. I kind of agree with it, but I'm not married to it. I agree with all your points too, Brian, except for one. This is not the same Patriots defense that we saw last year, and especially when Hightower got knocked out of that game, they were a shell of their former self. They might, over the course of the season, become a defense that you pick on, opposed to one that you avoided last year.
Look at their secondary. Their secondary hasn't changed much. They actually brought in Gilmore.
Right?
Their secondary is improved. Yeah.
That's kind of where I was going with it. Like their front seven, I think, is even without Hightower, I still think is pretty solid.
I think
They're
their
not great, but they're solid.
I think before the Hightower injury, they already took a step back. When you lose a guy like a Rob Ninkovich, who's like really the leader on that defense at that point, like he was the Teddy Bruschi for this new group of Patriots, you lose a guy like that, it's hard to replace. And then you replace him with a guy like a Hightower, who's a quality guy. He can be a guy that can be that type of guy, but now you lose him too. That defense isn't going to be the same. That defense just took 2 big barrel hits. I can see them, I can definitely see what Rob is saying, that this defense is probably going to be a defense you're going to be able to pick on for a little while. It's more of a question of, even with Hightower's return, does that front seven become stout enough to not only get after the passer, but actually really stop a decent running game? Because I'm sorry, like they played one of the worst offensive lines like I've probably ever seen in a football game, in a professional football game. And they didn't do that much.
No, that offensive line gave Alex Smith a ton of time.
Yep. Now, I mean, granted, too, I'm not taking anything away from what the Chiefs did. I think that victory is as much a credit to them. I'm not trying to say it was because the Patriots blew that game. They came out and they shoved it up the defending champions fucking right down their mouth, So definitely pretty solid there. I'm going to go over to YouTube real quick. Got a couple questions coming in. We got Trey Hun going, what do you guys think about Bilal Powell? Should I get rid of him ASAP or hold on to him?
Him, I would hold on to. I think he's
Agreed.
the only one on that offense that has any value.
Especially in PPR league.
Yeah, in a PPR, I'm definitely hanging on to him. In a non-PPR format, I actually might drop him because I don't think he's going to get enough volume of carries, and I don't think he's going to get enough touches overall just based on the way the offense is that he's going to be that relevant, especially in a porous offense. I mean, they can't run the ball. They could barely pass block. Even if he's going to catch a bunch of dump-offs, what is he going to catch, like 10 2-yard dump-offs a game?
Can't do that.
Yeah, it's a waste of my time.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Turk Boy Z20 goes, did you guys see Doug and Jim high five at one point in the game after that sack fumble? Yes, I did.
Yeah,
that
I
was
saw that.
one part of that game I actually did catch or whatnot. Trey Hunt comes back. Prescott or Phillip Rivers for week 2?
Ooh, Phillip Rivers at versus Miami. That was actually a matchup I had considered because I know Miami's secondary was very porous last year. You know, obviously we didn't see them play week 1 due to the hurricane, so we don't know. But they do return, you know, a couple of key cogs. You know, you got a healthy Cameron Wake coming back this year. You know, you have Ndamukong Suh again for another season. More importantly, though, they get back Rashard Jones, the big playmaking, big hitting free safety they had back there. You know, he's a guy that makes some problems in the secondary trying to get the deep ball there. But, again, he's coming off a major knee injury. You don't know what he's going to be like in actual game action. That being said, though, I don't know, man.
Who's Dallas got this week?
Denver. I think it's Phillip Rivers all day.
I think so, too.
Yeah.
That was going to be that was like what I was looking for because I didn't remember the matchup off the top of my head.
Yeah. Well, as a fan, I recall very much so. Yeah, I mean, number 1 against fantasy quarterbacks, number 1 against fantasy wide receivers last year. Looked, you know, a little porous in the score department last day. They gave up 3 scores to Phillip Rivers, but kept him under 200 yards. You know, so obviously that defense is to be reckoned with, and Dak Prescott did not look good against the Giants at all. So, I mean, certainly I think there's room for growth. I think it's week 1, game 1. This seems to be like the type of player that just comes in with the butterflies like an ace pitcher in the first inning for baseball, if you could dig that metaphor. Yeah. I think that Dak Prescott will continue to grow and get better, especially with his accuracy and his footwork. But, you know, missed Dez Bryant. He had him wide 2 times in the end zone there and absolutely just shanked the throw. So I'm not going in with a lot of confidence. Now, that being said, I probably am starting Dak Prescott on one of my teams because I have the choice between him and an injured Luck. So obviously I got to go with Dak. But if you have Rivers really surprised me putting up over 20-plus points in most fantasy leagues against Denver last night. That's a nice feat.
He's always been a solid quarterback, and his wide receiving core is healthy.
Yeah, I mean,
for the most part.
I mean, the one thing I will say to you know kind of poke a small hole in this bubble in this nice fit for Phillip Rivers is an easy play.
Poke away.
He didn't. Almost all of his fantasy points came within the final 6 minutes of the game.
Yes, garbage time. Yeah.
All of his points came in the final 6 minutes
truth.
because it wasn't until then that the defense forced a couple turnovers, which gave him a short field to put points on the board.
Right.
So I mean, if you take out those 2 turnovers, Phillip Rivers got you what, like 6 fantasy points last night, 5 fantasy points going into the last 6 minutes. You're pulling hair out.
Inversely, Trey Hunt comes back. It is a PPR, so definitely hold on to Bilal Powell.
Yeah, I would definitely hold on to Bilal Powell in a PPR. Honestly, I actually like Dak. 24-39. I mean, that's a very good Giants defense. Like it's a he played a much the Giants defense compared to what I saw in the Denver defense last night. I would say they're almost on par with each other. So if you're going to say that both defenses are almost on par with each other, and obviously, you know, San Diego's offensive line is trash compared to Dallas's, and Dak had quite a bit of pressure in his face for a good chunk of the game. I mean, he didn't have just clean pockets all game.
Oh, yeah, Snacks Harrison was just a beast.
Yeah, he blowing up the middle of that line. And, you know, any quarterback with pressure in your face, you're not going to have a great game. But the fact that he was 24 of 39 in that game and still did what he does best, not turn the ball over, I'll roll with Dak this week against Denver because I think he can put up more points on the board than what Phillip Rivers did without the turnovers.
Cool.
While we're doing the whole comment thing, got a few comments coming in on Facebook Live. Stephen L. Burrell commenting in. He's going with Tariq Cohen. Also,
look good.
Informing us that the Cards could be or may be already signing CJ2K.
Yeah. Don't be a fucking idiot and go for CJ2K. No disrespect, brother. I appreciate you coming in with the comments and keep them coming. Love all of the people that listen to the show. But they might bring him in just because of lack of options. He's not a qualifiable option in fantasy anymore.
Can I point out right here, the only running back that you should pick up if Arizona signs him off the street is Jonathan Williams, the former Buffalo running back.
And that's who they should go for.
Absolutely.
No doubt about it,
That's
dude.
why I bring
Great
it up.
point.
That's why I bring it up. Yeah, I mean, that kid's a beast. And that's a kid that can play. Like, you're going to be missing David Johnson 2 to 3 months.
Yeah. Dude, I'm not surprised. You bring up good points every day like it's your job. Except when you disagree with my points. Then they're bad points.
But it's my job.
That is your job.
Damn
He's,
right.
That's what I do.
He has a nice question for you. Before I get to the question, he's also commenting in saying, I'm just saying he's going to be a part of the committee for the Cards.
No, agreed.
Yeah,
You're pointing out the fact that then that's good. That's good.
So his question comes in as Chris Hogan or Corey Coleman in my league's second flex.
Ooh, 2 flex. I like 2 flex.
To start this week, I'm going Chris Hogan. Long term, Corey Coleman all the way.
I definitely, depending on, I forget who Cleveland's playing this week, but I like
Cleveland's
Corey
playing
Coleman.
Baltimore this week. Baltimore coming off that shutout at home at Cincinnati. Excuse me.
Maybe
on
I'm
the
going.
road.
I'm definitely going Cincinnati. Or sorry, Chris Hogan.
Yeah, I'm gonna go Chris Hogan because I think that Baltimore defense is playing like he's got his hair on fire. At least they
Sure.
did week 1.
Sure.
Yeah, I mean, I like what Deshaun Kaiser did last week, but
I mean, Corey Coleman
He's got
did
a-
lead the team though in receiving yards, targets, catches. I mean, there's high volume there, and that's going to stay there too.
Sure. Absolutely.
So it's not like it's a bad play to not play Coleman this week, but I mean, Hogan's going to have a big game. That defense is bad. That defense real bad in New
Absolutely.
Orleans.
also got Clinky. Clinky's chiming in.
Yeah, he's alive.
He is alive. He made it through the dentist. Good for him.
Yay!
Going with Cohen, Cup, and Williams. Mike the Commish chiming in saying, I love that nickname, Snacks.
Yeah. Snacks Harrison, no doubt.
Oh, yeah.
And Stephen Burrell's adding a little bit more to what he's saying before. Cool. No, Pat should be a score fest, I hope. Britt in the Dog Pound Doghouse.
Yeah, buddy.
Yeah, I'm actually, you know what? I was very high on Kenny Britt. After what I saw week 1 and that horrendous drop he had, I'm done. Done. I will never draft another Rutgers University player that plays on offense in fantasy football again.
They get no respect.
Again. Nah, Ray Rice was my man, yo. I love drafting Ray Rice. He's also a Rutgers product.
Yeah,
Forgot about that.
Yes, he is. Yeah, when I went to school there, matter of fact. And Tom Savage, too, getting the quick yank. So I'm with you with the disrespect on Rutgers. All right, guys, before we have to wrap up on Facebook Live, let's finish off our fresh or stale for quarterback so we can start fresh with running back after the break. I'll go with actually, Brian, why don't you go with your fresh plays this week?
All right, well, like I said earlier, Alex Smith is one. I'm going with Derek Carr versus the Jets. I know their secondary's improved and is continuing to improve, but Derek Carr with his weapons and him being 100%, he put up 262 and 2 touchdowns versus the Titans in week 1. And I'm also going with Jameis Winston against Chicago. I think this is a dream matchup for the offense that the Buccaneers have. And Chicago gave up 121 yards to Matt Ryan in week 1.
Right, absolutely. He's one of my 3 as well in my fresh category. He's only 7,800 on FanDuel, so you can save a little money there with famous Jameis. My number 1 fresh play this week, Tom Brady at the Saints. Yeah. He's going to be mad as hell from that week 1 loss, and when you bring out the angry Tom Brady, he comes out and never disappoints. And then we just saw what Sammy Sleeves did to this defense. I think Tom Brady's a little bit better. It's not going out on a limb there, so I think he's a good play. Now, ironically enough, my third pick, because Jameis Winston was my second. My third is Sam Bradford at Pittsburgh. 7,100 on FanDuel. Nice savings. He looked good in that defense. Matter of fact, that game and that offensive line looked fantastic. I expect big years from both Sammy Sleeves as well as the rookie running back Dalvin Cook.
Sammy Sleeves. I like it.
Let's roll over to the stale side. We already talked about Dak Prescott. I have him on my stale side just because of the reasons I gave before about the Broncos defense. I got Carson Wentz here on my stale side as well as a fantasy play. He's a great QB, but he turns over the pigskin a little too much for my liking, and the KC defense is an absolute turnover machine. Even with the loss of Eric Berry.
And that's what I was going to bring up was the big loss of Eric Berry with that torn Achilles.
Yeah.
That being said, though, I mean, I was leaning towards that myself with Wentz.
Absolutely.
Look.
My third stale is Kirk Cousins at the Los Angeles Rams. That defense looked stellar last week. I'm just down on all the QBs of the NFC East this week, minus Eli versus the Lions, which is an okay play.
Yeah, I mean, funny enough, I'm actually down on the quarterback on the opposite side of that play. And that's Matt Stafford.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't like Matt Stafford this week. You can see with the Detroit offensive line, it is on the a little bit more on the porous side.
Mm-hmm.
He got a lot. Arizona was able to get quite a little bit of pressure on him. But the problem with Arizona is when it counted in the fourth quarter, they couldn't get any pressure at all. They couldn't generate anything.
Right.
And they were just getting picked apart by Stafford, just moving the ball down the field. I don't see that being the case with the New York Giants, being a younger defense. With what I feel to be a few more playmakers on that side of the ball, I think Matthew Stafford has a real tough day. And I'm backing you on the Carson Wentz play. That was my guy, too. And you stole my other guy, too. You, stole my bit here with Kirk Cousins. Yeah, Kirk Cousins, I am not touching that. I'm not touching that with a 10-foot pole. But I'll sprinkle in a bonus pick for you. I ain't fucking with Ben Roethlisberger. Not at all. Not against that Minnesota defense.
Right.
No, thank you.
Right. Absolutely. Great picks. Brian, who's your stale quarterbacks? Then we'll wrap it up.
Marcus Mariota against the Jags this week. He just didn't look good last week. And that Jags defense played extremely well against Houston. And I know that's not really saying much considering it's the Houston Texans and who they have on offense. But they had a defensive touchdown, one pick. They only allowed the one touchdown, which was Deshaun Watson to DeAndre Hopkins. I'm going with Brian Hoyer against Seattle. Not that Brian Hoyer is probably owned in many leagues. But that aside from Carlos Hyde and Pierre Garçon, there's just no real threat on that San Francisco offense.
Hey, there was a lot of hype behind that San Francisco offense going into last game, and certainly it didn't really come to fruition, but that doesn't mean the hype has gone away. It's good that you bring up Brian Hoyer, maybe not a guy that's owned a lot in leagues, but could be a tempting, cheap value quarterback, and you're saying this week stay away from that value.
Especially against the Seattle defense.
Truth.
The Seattle defense is still one of the best in the league, and I just always thought Brian Hoyer's been trash his entire career.
He's not trash. I mean, trash is like Mark Sanchez. That's trash. You know what I mean?
I think I'd rather have butt fumble over Brian Hoyer, to be honest with you.
My man.
I mean, come on.
I like the controversy there.
I don't know,
Controversial statements.
I don't know, man. I'd much rather have.
Both are journeymen. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
I mean, they're not worth having, but
listen, give me any McCown over Mark Sanchez.
Right.
Any, pick one. There's 7 of them in the league. Pick
Right.
one.
there really is.
Right.
And number 3, I'm going with Mike Glennon against Tampa Bay. There's just too many injuries in that passing game for that offense to be even remotely effective.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Agreed.
Yeah.
We'll pick this up right where we left off with the running backs on the other side, but we won't be on Facebook Live. We're going to terminate that broadcast. Go right over to YouTube. Terminate. We're going to go right over to YouTube. Join us there for all the rest of Fresh or Stale, for waiver claim advice, and for fantasy baseball advice. So much more to go on Fantasy Dominance now. As I said before, sponsored by The Stash, the Soap Stash. They are the new soap standard. They want you to treat your skin with the best nutrients and feel clean with the only soap you'll need. The highest grade carrier oils are ingrained in all their products, which are 100% natural. So contact Soap Stash today for your sample package and give your woman what she deserves. Call them 844-890-3197. Look them up online, soapstash.com. And check out their Facebook site for all specials, or you can order right through Messenger. Soap Stash LLC. They are the new soap standard. Keep it there, people. You're listening to Fantasy Dominance now, only on A2DRadio.com. Woo!
Welcome in to the worldwide leader of what? Real talk, A2DRadio.com.
get your skills in shape? Then contact the Scanzano Sports Center, located at 5 Carnegie Plaza in Cherry Hill, New Jersey. You can give them a call at 856-889-3434 or visit them on the web at www.scanzanosports.com. John Scanzano offers individual, semi-private, and team training lessons in hitting, pitching, catching, outfield, along with turf rentals. The Scanzano Sports Center is equipped with a 31,000 square foot indoor facility, 4 batting cages, and a 4,000 square foot strengthening and conditioning room. So what are you waiting for? Contact the Scanzano Sports Center today.
A2DRadio.com is sponsored by The Sports Outlet for all your sporting needs. Located 703 Black Horse Pike in Glendora, New Jersey. Give them a call at 856-939-2030 or email them at sportsoutletnj@comcast.net or visit them on the web at www.sportsoutletinc.com for all your sporting needs. The Sports Outlet. Fellas, you ever come in from that baseball or football game and your woman won't come near you because you stink beyond belief? Then you need Soap Stash. You should never settle for a generic hygiene product that only covers up the stench. Treat your skin with the best nutrients. Feel clean with the only soap you'll need. The highest grade carrier oils are ingrained in all of their products, which are 100% natural and terrific for your skin. No sulfates, parabens, or phthalates, and synthetic fragrance free. Contact Soap Stash for your sample package and give your woman what she deserves. You can contact Soap Stash at 844-890-3197 or visit them on the web at soapstash.com or Facebook at Soapstash LLC. Once again, their number is 844-890-3197. Soap Stash, the new soap standard.
A2DRadio.com is proudly sponsored by Gibson Mayer LLC Certified Public Accountants. Gibson Mayer, located in Yardley, PA, is a leading accounting and business consulting firm with a proven track record of handling critical issues with expertise across many different industries, including construction, distribution, hospitality, manufacturing, real estate, service trades, merchandising, professional services, and professional athletes. Give them a call at 215-369-3300. That's 215-369-3300. Your initial consultation is always free, and if you tell them that Tom and Mike from AM and the PM sent you, you'll receive 15% off all income tax services completed by February 15th. That's Gibson Mayer LLC Certified Public Accountants, 215-369-3300, or visit them on the web at www.gibsonmayer.com. That's gibsonmayer.com.
You're listening to Fantasy Dominance Now, only on A2DRadio.com.
And welcome back to today's Fantasy Dominance Now, only on A2DRadio.com. Brian Daly, Doug Pitchford, Rob Povia, Matt Sudi on the ones and twos, bringing you all the dominance. Mike Kleinkoff is recovering from a chipped tooth. We wish you all the best, man. He's chiming in, he's tuning in, he's a part of the team that is Fantasy Dominance Now. And if you want to come be a part of the team, a couple ways to do that. Like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter and Instagram, and subscribe to our YouTube channel. You search A2DRadio.com. If you got specific questions, we got even more specific answers. Hashtag AskFDN. Getting back to fresh or stale for week 2 in the NFL, and this portion of it is being brought to you by Scanzano Sports Center. Give them a call, 856-889-3434. Look them up online, scanzanosports.com. Let's move to the running backs, gentlemen. I'll allow you to go first so I don't steal thunder.
Go ahead, Doug.
Oh, no, this is all you, brother.
All right.
I'm a little busy on the book myself answering a question.
Nice.
All right, so for my running backs this week for fresh, I think one's a no-brainer in Kareem Hunt versus the Eagles. I don't like the linebacking core there still. The defensive line is much improved, and they showed they can shut down the run a little bit. But Kareem Hunt also showed a lot of versatility and elusiveness against that Patriots defense, and shows that he's not only just a running back, he's a passing back as well.
Yeah, man, that one up the seam where he just took it to pay dirt.
Yeah,
Gorgeous.
That was a nice route. Yeah, I'm actually with you there on Hunt this week.
Leonard Fournette versus the Titans. Titans gave up 109 rushing yards to the Raiders committee on Sunday. He also broke 100 yards against a tough Houston defense, so I think he can definitely repeat, if not maybe do more against the Titans defense.
Like a boss. No?
Yeah, you'll see.
Okay.
And I also believe it or not, I'm going with Todd Gurley this week against the Redskins. He showed signs of progression, aside from last year when he showed a lot of regression. Looked like he was hitting the holes a little bit faster, and he looked like his step is back, which
better shape.
Looked like he was he lost a little bit last year, and I think Todd Gurley can go to town on the Redskins.
Yeah, I mean, better line in front of him. Certainly, there was a lot of expectation that he could be back on the map this year, and Week 1 did not disappoint. It's a good call. That's a very good call. Inversely, too, with Hunt, I got to tell you this. I renamed my one team in the other league, the Hunt for Red Dactober.
Oh, Jesus. I like it, though. That's creative. That's creative. I'll give you that.
I just wanted to see if it was a good one or
like
if I just thought it was great because I'm corny as fuck and everybody else is like, that's stupid.
Yeah, I mean, hey, it's better than the team name I'm about to change mine to in one league. It's about to be I'm about to be the Charlottesville Tiki Nationals. Yes, it's a very offensive league. We all make the most offensive team names possible. So it fits. It's a fitting name for this league.
Like Zeke Wife Beaters.
Real quick. I just got a trade offer from one of the guys in my Fantrax leagues.
Mm-hmm.
He's offered me Ted Ginn Jr. for Marshawn Lynch.
No.
That's a negative.
No.
I'll pass.
Look at what Marshawn Lynch did against – I almost wanted to sit – I would have sat Marshawn Lynch had that game not been postponed down in Florida.
Oh, I did. I sat him.
Right, and I was going to – because that Titans defense is a great run defense, and he put up 80-something yards in that, had a one catch for like 12 yards.
Yeah, it's 18 for 76, and one reception for 16 yards.
Yeah, so, I mean, pretty good game against a vaulted defense, so hold on to Lynchy, man.
Yeah,
Beast mode.
Oh, I'm going to trade him at some point. I'm just waiting for the right offer.
There you go. That's smart, man. Smart man.
I like it.
Doug, your fresh running backs.
Oh man, I mean, I'm in lockstep with him in terms of Kareem Hunt. He's a must start this week. Todd Gurley, I do like this week, but I like a couple other guys a lot better this week than him and a Fournette. I'm buying in on Mike Gillislee this week. I think he repeats what he did last week with the 2 short yardage touchdowns. I think that game is going to be a slugfest with New Orleans and New England. So I'm definitely playing Gillislee this week, expecting multiple scores. I'm also playing Ty Montgomery this week, expecting multiple scores. This guy's legit. He's solidified himself as a basically a low-end RB1, high-end RB2, must start every week.
Yeah, no, agreed, man. We saw him used on all downs this past week versus Seattle, which really gives an indication of how Green Bay is going to utilize the running backs. Mm-hmm. And he's only 6,500 on FanDuel.
Yeah.
So it's a nice value there. And he's actually my number 2 fresh play.
And as far as Gillislee goes, that's the reason why they brought him in. He's going to be that goal line guy you're going to use. They brought him in to score touchdowns.
Right.
Use his power and just power through the line.
Yeah.
The spot that he fills from Blunt. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And then the third guy I'm going to go with this week, and this is an iffy one because this is kind of like an if he plays type of situation, but I like Thomas Rawls this week. Granted, San Francisco did look pretty solid last week against Carolina, but you know what? There was I watched most of that game, unfortunately. There's quite a few running lanes that I saw both Christian McCaffrey and Jonathan Stewart were taking full advantage of. I could see Thomas Rawls, especially with Seattle, making it a point to establish the running game with the porous offensive line that they have.
Right.
I see Thomas Rawls, who should be back and starting this week. He is the starting running back. He's going to see a bulk of the work based on what we saw last week with how bad that running game was.
Right.
Yeah, but my only problem with Thomas Rawls is you still have Eddie Lacy, Chris Carson showing that he can play in the league, and CJ Procise too. It's just too many.
A lot of mouths to feed.
Exactly, and to me, it's too many.
I don't think they go with the rotation moving forward, though. I mean, we saw it even in the game. Yeah, Chris Carlin showed flashes in the passing game. He didn't do anything in the running game. He did nothing in the running game.
Oh yeah, Chris Carter. Yeah,
Yeah,
well,
Chris
maybe he's a
Carson's
younger
nothing.
back. He's a younger back. No,
Right.
correct. I'm saying that he's a younger back, and I think you're very astute here, Doug. I mean, I was with you, Brian, and we could be correct here, but look at the coach, Pete Carroll. He likes a main guy. He doesn't like a committee. So he wants to see who's going to step out of this committee and be the lead back, and then that'll be the guy to roll with. Thomas Rawls has the intangibles.
He's already
definitely does.
And he's already shown when healthy that he can be that lead guy with no problem. You know what I mean? I mean, he racked up, I think in a 10-game stretch, he racked up 700-yard games.
Key word, when healthy.
Oh, yeah.
2 words.
Yeah.
2 words, when healthy. But that's why I said if he's healthy and playing this week, you play him this week.
Absolutely. I'm going to go with my number one. You covered Ty Montgomery for my list. I think that's a great fresh play. My number one fresh play this week is Melvin Gordon. I'm just in love. I have a love affair with Melvin Gordon. Going against the Dolphins defense, which is a pretty decent run day here, but Gordon is special and was used quite a bit in the passing game on Monday Night Football, which is always a good compliment. If they're shutting down the run, he can beat you in another way. I mean, he's not the only back that can do that, but talent-wise, matchup-wise, I think he's the freshest play this week. He's a great play for PPR leagues, and 7,600 on FanDuel. The price hasn't quite caught up yet, so I think that could be a decent play.
Good value.
Absolutely.
Great value.
It's a great value, but it's not my blue light special. I have a few blue light specials when it comes here, and we already talked about them a little bit, and that's Kerwin Williams at the Colts. Now, you can be down on the Cards' defense, but I'm even more down on the Colts' offense, which means their defense will be on the field a lot, giving more opportunities to those fantasy players from the desert out in Arizona. He's only 6,100 on FanDuel. I shouldn't say only, because that's a little high. I was surprised that it was 6,100 already.
I'm not.
No, because he's the next man. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. I'll roll right over to my stale side. I got Joe Mixon at the Texans as a stale play this week. I think you got to avoid the entire Cincy backfield in this game.
Yeah, I think Houston's getting that revenge factor game in. So yeah, I would have to agree with that.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And based on what we saw last night, another stale play for me is Adrian Peterson versus the Pats. I know I was putting down their defense before, but there's something rotten in Denmark already in game one, indicated by that death stare that he gave one Sean Payton. So I'd avoid that till you see, because Alvin Kamara looked really good last night too.
He did look good. But you know what? I'm not sold on him as a runner, but he looked really good in the passing game.
Agreed. My third stale pay is LeGarrette Blount at Kansas City. Good defense. Tough to play on the road in Arrowhead.
Yeah, I'm avoiding that as well. Well, not avoiding it, but I wouldn't go out of my way to recommend playing him. I'll jump right into my stale. Leonard Fournette. I'm not playing Leonard Fournette this week. Yeah, he against a pretty tough, stout Houston defense. He was able to crank out 100 yards on, I believe, he was 23 attempts for 102 yards, 26 carries for 100 yards flat in the touch, sprinkling a couple catches in there as well. For me, that's not enough. That's not enough. It took you 26 carries to get the 100 yards. Granted, against a pretty good run defense. I don't think he's going to be able to get to 26 carries in this game against Tennessee. You know what I mean? I think this
they have good ball control offense.
They have a good ball control offense. You know, this isn't Houston where they have one of the worst offensive lines in football. This is Tennessee, who has one of the best offensive lines in football. So you're not going to get all those free runners blowing up plays literally right as the snap happens. You know, so and what with DeMarco Murray there as well, I don't see that slowdown. So yeah, I'm definitely not messing with Fournette in this game. I'm actually avoiding LeGarrette Blount this week if possible. I don't like the matchup. And I don't like any running back for Washington against St. Louis Rams this week, and I will call them the St. Louis Rams forever. Yeah, I don't like any Washington running back against St. Louis this week. I think they're going to get curb stomped.
Bam. American
kind of
History
funny
X
because
style.
didn't they start in L.A.? That's where the Rams started, right? In L.A., right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I think it's kind of funny that they're St. Louis to you forever.
Yeah, forever. Well, I mean, technically, I think they started in Phoenix or something. Like, they moved to L.A. at some point. I don't think they were an original team to L.A.
I know that.
I've always known
I'm
them as
pretty
L.A.
sure. I'm pretty sure.
That was the earliest that I remember.
I know they were the LA Rams, and Heaven Can't Wait. That's a pretty damn old movie.
Truth be told.
Rob Povey just dated himself. Okay. Brian Daly, your
I
fresh,
remember the movie.
your stale running backs.
I think my first one in here is a no-brainer, and that's Amir Abdullah. That Lions running game was just non-existent against Arizona.
Wait, who?
Amir Abdullah.
Who's that?
Exactly.
Nice.
And I'm in agreement with LeGarrette Blount versus the Chiefs. They have a very strong front seven, and they're going to just challenge Blount all day. He didn't even seem like he could really get going against Washington either.
Right.
I mean, granted, he did get the garbage touchdown, but
He did.
Yeah.
But like you said, it's a garbage touchdown. And I'm not touching the Jets running backs at all this week against the Raiders. Gave up 16 points to a good offense in the Titans. Imagine what they're going to do to a bad offense.
Yeah. Agreed.
shut out.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, I like Bilal Powell. I think he's the only source of value in that offense, but I'm not touching him this week.
Yeah, bad matchup.
That smells like a great bet, though.
Yeah, buddy.
I'll take the points in that game.
There you go. There you go. Let's go over to wide receivers, gentlemen. Your fresh plays, Douglas.
Oh my goodness. Well, first and foremost, I really liked what Adam Thielen did last night. Like, I'm not necessarily recommending him here, but I'm just saying in general, like, I really like what that kid did. He might be another sleeper pickup at some point soon.
Oh, agreed.
Yeah, but to get back to the matter at hand here, though, I already told you to pick him up. It's 2 girls, 1 Cooper Kupp. That's my guy this week. I love the matchup. Very soft, like I said, Washington, soft as baby poo. Washington team defense, especially in that secondary, it's atrocious.
Right.
They're gonna pick on them a lot of bit, not a little bit, a lot of bit. I also like AJ Green this week. At home versus Houston. I think he's going to be bound for a big bounce-back game. Was very tough sledding week 1 against Baltimore. I think Houston seems like a team that's a little bit distracted, so I'm going to shy away from them. And you know what? I'm loading up on Arizona Cardinals receivers this week. I'm sorry. Indianapolis Colts are hot garbage.
Right.
Larry Fitz, J.J. Nelson, what's the other kid? John Brown. Like, any of those receivers, if you own one, play
Or
one.
Jerron Brown, because isn't John Brown still fighting the sickle cell?
Oh yeah, Jerron Brown then. Oh
Yeah.
well, never mind. Just Fitzgerald and just J.J. Nelson.
Yeah.
If you could play either one of those 2 guys, it's money this week.
But it's even more money. The point you're making here, and I'll just piggyback on it, is that now that your running back game took a severe hit with David Johnson, that just screams to me more pass plays.
Oh yeah,
It's
got to.
I mean,
logical, right?
until these other guys can figure out, who's going to be the best running back and if they're going to stick to the committee or not.
Right.
It's the only option you really have
Right.
with that Arizona team.
Right.
Oh, and Angry Doug. I'm definitely playing Angry Doug this
Angry
week.
Doug.
If you don't know who Angry Doug is, that's Angry Doug Baldwin. Angry Doug.
Nice. Brian, who's your fresh wide receivers?
Well, I'm in 100% agreement with Cooper Kupp. If you got him, start him, especially against the Redskins. He had a really, really strong showing in week 1. Tied the team lead in targets in week 1, and just phenomenal kid. I'm actually going opposite of Doug here. I'm going with DeAndre Hopkins versus the Bengals.
Okay.
And then I know it's a small sample size, but I liked what Deshaun Watson did, finding Hopkins on a slant for the touchdown. I think we're going to see a little bit more of that, and I think now that there's a decent quarterback at the helm for Houston, DeAndre Hopkins' value is going to rise a bit.
Well, he's not a stiff, so it's not like he's going to drop back and get killed.
No, that's true. This is very true. And then I'm also going with my number 1 is Michael Crabtree against the Jets. Huge red zone threat Crabtree is, and I think Amari Cooper is going to attract a lot of attention. And I know that Jets secondary is improving.
That Jets defense is pretty good.
But, Cooper Cooper's going to attract some attention. He's got to leave somebody open. It's going to be Crabtree.
Oh, of course.
And you're absolutely right there, man. See, the positive there is that, and Cooper is just, you see the progression even from last year, in game 1 already. Now, some can say, well, maybe he might start to overshadow Crabtree like he was originally meant to be. But no, I go with your point. With that progression comes more attention, which causes one-on-one coverage for Michael Crabtree.
Right.
I'm right there. I mean, I can't complain about that. You're right. You're 100% right about that. I mean, the only thing I would add to that is just, based on the Jets being the Jets, you probably play them both.
Probably could.
Yeah.
Like, they're the Jets.
Well, luckily,
I'll put them both on a.
I have them both in one of my leagues.
Do you?
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah,
Nice.
That is actually nice.
Yeah, absolutely. I think you could pull that off. I think it's even better for DFS, where if you can stack a car with Cooper and Crabtree and build around that this week, that might be a good strategy.
And I have Carr too, so I might actually be playing them, especially after
Boom.
that catastrophe that Drew Brees had last Monday night.
Yeah, I started him this week. It worked out nice.
I mean, they had a lot of tackles this week. The Jets defense did, one of the tops in the league, but that just was representing on how much they were on the field.
Yeah.
They sold out this defense when they traded Sheldon Richardson. They were like, we're done.
I disagree, actually.
Yeah?
They were so stout on that defensive line. They didn't need Sheldon Richardson.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, think about it. You had Leonard Williams already on that line. You had Sheldon Richardson.
Mm-hmm.
You had Snacks on that line before he went to the Giants.
Right.
You have it was Sheldon Richardson. You already have Muhammad Wilkerson on that defensive line. How
Past
much
his
more
prime,
do you?
Isn't he past? How old is Wilkerson?
Wilkerson's 26.
26. Yeah, so he's still relatively. Once he gets to 28.
Sheldon Richardson's 27.
Yeah.
Leonard Williams 23.
Yeah.
Like, they're pretty stout on that line. And
saying,
they brought in Coney Ely.
Yeah, true, but it's not who departed. I think is better than who remained. But that's debatable. That is debatable. I'll give you that.
I don't know. I like Muhammad Wilkerson more. I think he's a better player.
Absolutely. Let me get to my fresh wide receivers. Starting off with Julio this week at the Packers. The Bears kept Julio pretty quiet in week 1. Green Bay will not.
No.
Start with confidence. Not that you weren't going to start Julio Jones, but I smell a 200-yard game, so work him into your DFS lineup. I'm going to go with, even though I've been down on him, this week I'm high on him, and that's Chris Hulk Hogan at the Saints. He only had 1 catch for 8 yards despite all the misguided hype when Edelman went down. This week he hits value and then some. Makes for an affordable stack with Brady, too. And FanDuel, he's 6,200.
Absolutely.
And my third is Marvin Jones at the G-Men.
I like it.
I know you were down on Stafford as a quarterback play, but I think Marvin Jones still can hit value at 5,800 on FanDuel.
Oh yeah, no, especially at that level. Yeah, I mean, I like the play you said before Marvin Jones
with Chris Hogan.
Yeah, I love the Chris Hogan play this week. I mean, obviously we answered the question on Twitter earlier, on Facebook, I should say earlier, but Chris Hogan, like, listen, Danny Amendola is hurt right now. We'll get into that a little bit later, but Danny Amendola is hurt. He probably is not playing this week.
Right.
And Danny Amendola racked up, what was it? I think he racked up like 10 catches for 100 yards last week in the opener. Yeah.
In the first half.
Yeah.
And then had the head injury and didn't come back. Took one half of football for Amendola to go down, man. It's so sad.
Right.
So talented, but so brittle.
Yeah, but him and Chris Hogan are basically the same player. So it's kind of like a plug-and-play situation. They have very similar skill sets in that they're both very crisp route runners. They're both smaller, more elusive guys. I mean, Chris Hogan's actually a little bit taller, a little bit more athletic.
He's more of a post guy now rather than a slot.
He was a slot guy in Buffalo. They moved him to the outside because they don't have outside receivers in New England.
Okay.
But, that's kind of an interchangeable part now with him and Brandon Cooks. You can line them both up side by side and flip-flop who goes in the slot. And either way, you're going to have a good matchup in the slot because neither guy can be covered there.
Absolutely. All right, let's go over to the stale side. Brian, who you got on your stale wide receiver list?
Mine might actually come as a bit of a shock to you, but my first one is Terrell Pryor versus the Rams. That one's not much of a shock because the Rams secondary looked really good, and I didn't think Terrell Pryor looked all that good in the Washington offense in Week 1.
Right, he was ingrained more than I thought he would be, but he wasn't lighting up the score sheets.
Nah, and the Rams defense had 2 pick sixes last week, so that's to me that's pretty impressive. And then I'm not touching Kelvin Benjamin with a 25-foot pole. I think he looked like straight garbage last week, only caught one ball versus San Francisco. That Carolina passing game just doesn't look good to me.
Cam's not
Nothing
ready.
good about it.
Cam's not ready. You could tell. His just throws were high, throws were left, throws were right, throws were were muffed into the dirt like 20-foot curveballs. Like he just didn't look like he was ready to play. He looked like he was in preseason game 1.
Right.
Yeah.
Like, I'm still getting it together, coach. Let me lose this 20 pounds. I got you.
And number 3, I got Brandon Marshall versus the Lions. Lions defense is still pretty good. Their secondary is all right. But that offense, that New York Giants offense struggled without OBJ, and that just goes to show you that that one player is the only reason why the Giants look good as they do.
Absolutely, that line is horrible.
That line is putrid.
Yep.
I you know what? I just think it was just a bad game plan. I mean, I noticed they didn't target Brandon Marshall like more than the whole first half. They targeted him twice for the game. Like, you don't do that with a guy who can at least move the chains. Like, it doesn't make sense.
Exactly. He didn't get his first catch until the game was pretty much over or what have you. They were employing what worked well against the Cowboys, maybe even as late as last year, and that was the screenplay. Where there was a lot of poor tackling on that defense. What I've seen in the preseason, and certainly in that game 1, they came out ready to cause some snot bubbles. They were hitting people hard. They were doing it very legally, as well as just not really leaving a lot of room for run after the catch or or beyond the line of scrimmage. So, that it really had an effect there. So I think, it all starts with the line. It all starts with the line, and the line wasn't creating enough spaces, and they should have went into a more downfield threat rather than the screen West Coast style.
And to justify your point that they went for the screens more than anything, Shane Vereen led the team in targets with 10.
Right, exactly.
And he's the number 2 running back.
Right. He is your pass catching back, but he shouldn't be leading your team or whatnot. They
exactly.
are very
and it just goes to show how reliant they are on OBJ.
Yeah.
And I get it. He catches anything and everything thrown to him.
Right.
But come on, you have other pieces.
Right.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Truth be told.
Doug, who's your stale wide receivers?
I'm just going to rattle them off real quick. Michael Thomas versus that New England secondary. We already know what time that is for him, unfortunately. Alshon Jeffrey at Kansas City. I don't like that matchup either. He's another guy who's just going to be pretty much completely taken out of a game. I had one. Oh, yeah. Pierre Garçon, obviously, from my 49ers. Another guy who's going to be completely taken out of the game this week based on the matchup.
I'm excited about his prospects for the year, though, being back with Shanny and how he treats his number 1 wide receivers. And Warriors got the arm to get it to him, but I agree with you, not this week.
No, this is definitely not the week.
No.
And 2 more for you, just to sprinkle them in there, because I know a lot of people are going to rush out, grab these players, and turn around and start them immediately, and that's going to be a big mistake because they're just not going to replicate what they did week 1. Kenny Galladay, excuse me. Kenny Galladay for Detroit.
Yep.
And, I just had him in now. Oh, Benny Fowler III for Denver.
Right.
These are 2 guys that are going to be picked up because they're top 10 right now in terms of points scored. Benny Fowler had the 2 touchdowns last night. Kenny Galladay had the 2 touchdowns on Sunday. Both these guys are going to be big-time red zone threats. Both of these guys are not doing that much this week. I mean, Galladay of the 2 probably has the better prospects of scoring and putting some points on the board. I don't see Benny Fowler doing much of nothing, even though he is going to be a big-time red zone target because he's 6'5".
Absolutely, and we'll give more to those gentlemen during our Waiver Claim Tuesday report. My stale wide receiver, I'm going to have a combination here, Des Bryant and Cole Beasley. It will take like 8 circus catches for Beasley to hit value this week. Denver's number 1 against the pass. I went into all of what happened last night on Monday night. My other stale wide receiver, Martavius Bryant versus the Vikings. The pass D looked pretty sharp against Breezy and company on Monday Night Football. So I'm definitely shying away from Martavius Bryant, starting him in that league. Moving on to the tight end position, I'll just go right into my fresh plays. My number 1 fresh play for tight end, Jordan Reed at the Los Angeles Rams. I know the Rams had a good defensive showing last week, but you got to play him when he's healthy, and he's healthy. The Rams only gave up 2 receptions. Only gave 2 receptions to Doyle last week, but one was for 21 yards and the other one was for 20 yards. It shows me a little chink in that armor that is the Rams defense in terms of covering the pass catcher. So imagine what, Jordan Reed could do. Also, Colby Fleener looked really good last night, and I'd say he's a fresh play versus the Patriots. He's another blue light special, only 5,300 on FanDuel, and really building a nice rapport with Breeze down there in New Orleans. Cameron Brate making football great again versus the Bears. Stack him with Famous Jameis and Mike Evans. He's also 5,300 on FanDuel. I think FanDuel fucked up this price, so definitely take advantage before he catches up. Because there's no game to go off of from week 1. So those are my 3 gentlemen. Which 3 do you have for your fresh?
You mind if I jump ahead of you?
Yeah, go for it, brother.
There's the reason why I wanted to jump ahead. So my number 1 is Austin Hooper versus the Packers. Their linebackers aren't really good coverage linebackers. And he also he only had 2 targets in that game, but he made the best of both of them and wound up with 127 receiving yards and 1 touchdown.
Sure.
Longest being an 88-yard touchdown reception.
No. You just said it. The big point there, though. The longest being an 88-yard reception. The other one was for 40.
Yeah.
That's a tight end.
Yeah.
Dude.
Number 2, I'm going to go with Evan Ingram versus the Lions. He had a strong NFL debut, I think. Seemed like Eli's favorite target. He only got targeted 5 times, but he caught 4 of them for 44 yards. So I like Evan Ingram. And this is the reason why I wanted to jump ahead of Doug. I'm going with O.J. Howard versus the Bears. Making his NFL debut, Browns gave up 127 yards to tight ends in week 1. I think O.J. Howard's going to be that guy. I think Cameron Brate's going to wind up, going a little behind O.J. Howard in the depth chart. I think Howard's going to take over.
I like how we're on opposite ends. That's good. That's real good.
I can dig it. I like that. I likes it a lot. I'm going to go a little bit off kilter here with my picks. I'm actually going to roll with Travis Kelce this week versus Philly. I think he's going to be a huge part of the offense this week. I think he scores at least 1, maybe even 2 touchdowns.
Right.
I'm with you with Austin Hooper, but he's not going to be one of my recommended plays only because I think Julio and the running game really go off in that Green Bay game. I like Jesse James this week against Minnesota. Granted, Minnesota's a great secondary. They don't cover the tight end very well. More importantly, Jesse James last week had a big-time game. Jesse James, 2 touchdowns in the red zone. Obviously, is a big-time target for Ben inside the money area. So I'm definitely looking for Jesse James this week to continue the role he's already on. And I'm going to roll one more for you, and this is going to be a super sleeper. I'm actually going to roll with Ryan Griffin this week, the second tight end for Houston, with C. Dave Fedorowicz looking like he's doubtful to out this week due to being in the concussion protocol. I like Ryan Griffin. I think he's going to light it up a little bit. That Cincinnati defense just looks like trash, bro. And they got no Vontaze Burfict, who's probably their best cover linebacker in that front 7.
Yeah, I'll talk about Cincy when we get into the defensive side of our plays here. No, for certain. I'm going to go right into my stale tight ends because, this is me jumping in real quick, right? Well, my first stale one's Jimmy Graham versus the Niners. I mean, the Niners' D's improved, and I love their linebacker safety speed, which is bad news for the pass catcher tight end. Graham will have another quiet game come Sunday. I have actually Evan Ingram on my stale side. And the reason why I say that is I'm not saying he looked particularly bad, but he seemed lost in their offense. I mean, being a rookie, understandable, your first NFL game, I'm sure he'll be a little bit more found and less lost. But the Lions defense actually covers the tight end pretty well. So that's just my concern there, why I have him on the stale side. And then I got Tyler Eifert versus the Texans on my stale side as well. I'm not saying if you're a Tyler Eifert owner in a league and that's your lone tight end or your main tight end, you're going to start him. I get it, but just lower your expectations a little bit. I put him on this list to avoid for DFS play. I just don't think he reaches value.
I could see that, man. I could definitely see that. I mean, my staleness is pretty self-explanatory. I shouldn't have to go too much into this. I'm avoiding Charles Clay this week. No, thank you. Jason Witten, I love you. You're an awesome player. I got utmost respect for you, but you're old and you're done. And this is the week where it starts.
Yeah, it's not the Giants, so.
Exactly. See, he's got 2 games a year he plays, and he's already played one of them. So he's irrelevant for another 15 weeks.
Congratulations to him, though, setting the all-time Cowboys receiving yards record. That's pretty impressive with a tight end.
Absolutely. No, man, that's a lot, man. I mean, Gates did it, I believe, in San Diego as well.
Yeah.
Broke the all-time receiving yard record. I think he did that like last year or the year before.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's big time when those guys did it. I know Tony G did it too for Kansas City. He set their all-time record for receiving yards and receptions, I believe, as well. But yeah, I mean, you talk about special guys. You know, that's what special guys do.
Yep.
Another guy I am not messing with this week is Jack Doyle.
Yeah.
I love Jack Doyle, and I love the fact that Jacoby Brissett will probably more than likely be named the starter this week, even though it should be Colin Kaepernick, but that's neither here nor there. That being said, though, I'm avoiding him at all costs. I think Arizona is going to be mad that they lost. They blew that game last week at Detroit, so somebody's got to pay for it, and it's going to be the worst team in the football right now, and that's the Indianapolis Colts.
Right.
Yeah, I said it, the worst team in football. They're worse than the Jets. That's saying a lot. They're trying to lose, and they're worse. That's saying a lot. And real quick, last guy, the two guys I'm going to throw up on here. Obviously, you mentioned Jimmy Graham. I'm going to piggyback on that because I like the secondary speed. But I'm actually going to flip that on the other side. I'm going to avoid George Kittle as well. George Kittle's a young tight end for 49ers. Looks like he showed a little bit of promise last week. I mean, see, it's Seattle. That's, nothing else needs to be said. It's Seattle. I'm not playing him.
Not playing here. Absolutely. Who are you not playing, Brian?
I'm not playing Julius Thomas versus the Rams. He's coming off a poor season, and he's got to prove in Miami that he has any value with Jay Cutler.
Right.
Staying away from Martellus Bennett. Green Bay, Aaron Rodgers is thrown to his completely 100% healthy wide receiving core. Cobb, Adams, Nelson. And I'm not starting Hunter Henry or Antonio Gates. Rivers did not use his tight ends very much. And it's kind of funny because as I was putting this together, I was watching the game, and at that point, Rivers did not throw it to a tight end. No more than 2 minutes later, he threw to Antonio Gates, but he didn't use them. And Miami has some decent covering linebackers too.
Right, and so many wide receivers to choose from on that team now that everybody's healthy. So yeah,
a lot of mouths to feed. But
Absolutely.
I also think Denver's defense has something to do with that.
Right. Glad you brought up defense because on the other side, we're going to get into DSTs, kickers, go into a little review of week one, what stood out to you guys, what can be applied towards waiver claims later on, tonight into tomorrow morning. And then to wrap up the party, we're going to get into a little fantasy baseball playoff ads, recommendations, whatever we want to talk about.
Yeah, baby. Baseball. The only sport that matters.
It's still alive. Despite the football season started, baseball is still alive, much to Mike Kleinkoff's chagrin.
He's not here. It's fine.
Well, let me remind everybody about our station sponsor, and that's the BMW of Atlantic City dealership. They challenge its sales team, and they must sell 100 vehicles, which means one thing. You save. Right now, lease a certified pre-owned elite 2017 BMW 320i with xDrive, just $299 a month for 36 months. The ultimate driving experience is closer than you think. BMW of Atlantic City, easy to get to. Minutes off of exit 37 on the Garden State Parkway. Or check them out online, BMWAtlanticCity.com. You are listening to Fantasy Dominance Now, only on A2DRadio.com.
Welcome in to the worldwide leader of what? Real Talk, A2DRadio.com.
Get your skills in shape, then contact the Scanzano Sports Center, located at 5 Carnegie Plaza in Cherry Hill, New Jersey. You can give them a call at 856-889-3434 or visit them on the web at www.scanzanosports.com. John Scanzano offers individual, semi-private, and team training lessons in hitting, pitching, catching, outfield, along with turf rentals. The Scanzano Sports Center is equipped with a 31,000 square foot indoor facility, 4 batting cages, and a 4,000 square foot strengthening and conditioning room. So what are you waiting for? Contact the Scanzano Sports Center today.
Fellas, you ever come in from that baseball or football game and your woman won't come near you because you stink beyond belief? Then you need Soap Stash. You should never settle for a generic hygiene product that only covers up the stench. Treat your skin with the best nutrients. Feel clean with the only soap you'll need. The highest grade carrier oils are ingrained in all of their products, which are 100% natural and terrific for your skin. No sulfates, parabens, or phthalates, and synthetic fragrance free. Contact Soap Stash for your sample package and give your woman what she deserves. You can contact Soap Stash at 844-890-3197 or visit them on the web at soapstash.com or Facebook at Soapstash LLC. Once again, their number is 844-890-3197. Soap Stash, the new soap standard. A2DRadio.com is sponsored by the Sports Outlet for all your sporting needs. Located 703 Black Horse Pike in Glendora, New Jersey. Give them a call at 856-939-2030 or email them at sportsoutletnj@comcast.net or visit them on the web at www.sportsoutletinc.com for all your sporting needs. The Sports Outlet.
A2DRadio.com is proudly sponsored by Gibson Mayer LLC Certified Public Accountants. Gibson Mayer, located in Yardley, PA, is a leading accounting and business consulting firm with a proven track record of handling critical issues with expertise across many different industries, including construction, distribution, hospitality, manufacturing, real estate, service trades, merchandising, professional services, and professional athletes. Give them a call at 215-369-3300. That's 215-369-3300. Your initial consultation is always free, and if you tell them that Tom and Mike from AM and the PM sent you, you'll receive 15% off all income tax services completed by February 15th. That's Gibson Mayer LLC Certified Public Accountants, 215-369-3300, or visit them on the web at www.gibsonmayer.com. That's gibsonmayer.com.
You're listening to Fantasy Dominance Now, only on A2DRadio.com.
And welcome back to Hour 2 of Fantasy Dominance, now only on A2DRadio.com. Proudly sponsored by the Sports Outlet for all your sporting needs. Give them a call, 856-939-2030, or look them up online, sportsoutletinc.com. So, gentlemen, let's dive right back into it. Let's look at the defensive special team plays for this weekend. My three fresh are Arizona at the Colts. That doesn't really need any explanation there. And they're 5,000 on FanDuel. Seattle versus the 49ers at 5,400. And Houston at Bengals at 4,600 on FanDuel.
I thought you and I were going to be on point.
Yeah.
You got 2 out of 3 of mine.
Yeah, same here.
Well, I heard in a song, 2 out of 3 ain't bad.
2 out of 3 ain't bad.
What's your third?
Oakland and the Jets.
Oakland.
I like Oakland's defense versus that
Good call.
Yeah, see, I thought
putrid Jets offense.
And I thought me and you were going to be on point with this, but no, we're also just one off. I also like Arizona versus the Colts, obviously, for obvious reasons. Also like Seattle against San Francisco for obvious reasons. I'm actually leaning towards, as my third play, who was it, Baltimore?
Yeah.
Versus Cleveland.
Yeah, okay.
I'm going to lean towards that as my third play. Coming off a shutout. I don't think they'll shut out Cleveland, but they're definitely not letting up a whole lot of points.
They're going to put a lot more pressure on Kaiser than you saw in week 1. Let's see how he handles it.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm with you.
Yeah. No, good call. Good call. Double dip, Doug. Who's your stale defense?
My stale defense. Jeez. Well, I don't like Buffalo this week versus Carolina. I'm going to avoid that. Obviously, I'm avoiding Green Bay versus Atlanta. And I'm probably going to also avoid Atlanta on the other side of that because I just think that game's going to be the shootout game. And honestly, I don't like Philly's defense this week. I'm not a fan of that at Kansas City. I think Kansas City's going to put quite a few points on the board. I don't like that matchup either.
Yeah, I mean, going based on week 1, that could be a safe assumption, but I don't know. I mean, it pains me to say this, but I think the Eagles' defense is pretty damn good. You know, I think they may curtail that a little bit, but that's still not to say that Kansas City's not going to put some points up and make them a bad play in fantasy, though. It's a difference between fantasy and reality. I experience it every time I go to the strip club. Oh, man. Brian, who's your steals?
All right, my steals. I'm with Doug 100% on the Philly versus Chiefs. I don't like the way that sets up, especially after the week that the Chiefs had. I don't like Atlanta versus Green Bay. Not that they're 100%.
Mm-hmm.
Ty Montgomery can run the ball. Cobb's back. Devontae Adams doing his thing. Jordy Nelson doing his thing. And I also, believe it or not, don't like Minnesota versus Pittsburgh. I think Pittsburgh's offense is way better than they appear to be. It's Big Ben, AB, I don't know why I'm blanking on his name, Le'Veon Bell, Jesse James showing that he can play a little bit.
Right.
A lot of weapons in Pittsburgh, and I think Pittsburgh can put some points up.
Yeah. Oh, agreed.
Yeah.
Absolutely agreed. Absolutely agreed there. I'm just reading this one comment from Chunkflex158. He gives the middle finger to Doug and goes, Kaepernick, why does everyone forget that he declined his option? That always seems to go forgotten.
Yeah, he declined his option because, San Francisco was going to cut him anyway. Like, he wanted out of the situation because he also figured the team would bring him back, which they should have.
Right.
Based on quarterback play. Mike.
I like it. I like your style. All right, my stale, where are we at? Defenses. New England at New Orleans. I mean, we saw the chink in the armor. I talked about that before in their defense. And New Orleans at home is a far better offense than they are on the road, and we'll see that in this week. They're 4,300 on FanDuel, so don't get tempted. This isn't the same D as last year, especially if Hightower is out. Other defenses I'm staying away from, I think I mentioned it, Cincinnati versus Texans. Giants versus Lions, too. I'm putting on my stale side. I think Lions will put up some points in this game. They're 4,600 on FanDuel. I think you can get cheaper defenses that'll give you more points than the New York Football Giants. Let's jump to the kicker side, gentlemen. Brian, why don't you lead us off? Your fresh kickers.
Fresh kickers, I'm going to go with Will Lutz against New England this week. I think Drew Brees is going to get the team into field goal range enough, but I don't think they're going to find the end zone. Like Brandon McManus versus Dallas. I think it's going to be the same situation. Dallas's defense isn't terrible, but that offense in Denver isn't much better. I was actually kind of hoping for a really good game from Brandon McManus on Monday night, but I didn't get it. And Stephen Gostkowski against New Orleans. So I'm going to go with both kickers in that game.
Not bad.
Like it.
I can digs. I'm going to go with Greg the Legatron. I'm actually going to go with the other kicker in that Denver Cowboys game. I'm going with Dan Bailey in that game. I actually also really like Kai Forbath this week at Pittsburgh. That's going to be a good game for a kicker there.
Yeah, and he had a good weekend this week as well, down a couple long field goals.
Yeah, he did. And just to sprinkle in one more, I'll say the Giants kicker, Aldrick Rosas. Rosas? Yeah.
I think it's Rojas. I believe it's Rojas. The first S is silent. I'm not positive on that, though.
Yeah, I think it's Aldrick Rojas or Aldrick Rosas.
Gotcha.
But, yeah, I like him this week. I think he's going to get more than the one field goal and the extra point that he did last week.
Absolutely. You guys nailed two of my three with McManus and Bailey. McManus is 4,700 on FanDuel. Bailey's only 100 more at 4,800. I really see this as being a low-scoring field goal game. So I think both kickers are in play here. My number one, though, as most weeks will be, Justin Tucker versus the Browns. I always pay up a little bit, 5,200 for a kicker, just to get max points there and not have it Shanghai me from cashing Like I didn't cash this week. Very upset about that. Very upset about that a little bit. Mwah. My stale kickers this week is Will Lutz versus the Patriots at 4,700, and Matt Bryant versus the Packers. I have him on. He's ranked about 10, 11 this week, and what have you. I just see it as a lot of extra points, not really field goals. So I think he's not going to hit value at 5,000 even.
No, I don't think so either. Actually, that's what I see for Gostkowski this week. I'm fading Gostkowski because of that. I don't think it's going to be many field goals. It's going to be all extra points. I also feel the same way about the not the Jets kicker, the Indianapolis kicker, Vinatieri. I just don't think he's gonna. I don't think he's gonna get many attempts in that game. I just don't think that they're gonna be able to move the ball into field goal range. And even when he gets there, I don't think he's gonna hit many. He just looks old.
Mm-hmm.
Like he just looks old. So I'm avoiding him like the plague. And I really just don't like Washington this week. I just don't. So I don't even know who Washington's kicker is, but I don't want to touch him either.
Dustin Hopkins.
Yeah, I don't want Dustin Hopkins this week. I don't want to touch him. Like it just screams out you're going to lose.
Just out of curiosity, who was your first one again?
The first kicker I mentioned?
Yeah.
It was Gostkowski.
Was it?
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay, because we went 2 out of 3.
Yeah?
Yeah. My third one is Chris Boswell. I just don't think all his field goal attempts are going to be extra points.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I just don't think Chris Boswell is going to get many field goal attempts.
And I'm not as fan of that leg as I was last year.
No.
I could see the Steelers eventually moving on from Boswell.
I like Boswell though.
Yeah.
Granted, he hasn't missed that many kicks to make me think like, all right, you need another kicker.
Right on. It's a distance that I thought he would be a better distance kicker than he's proven to be. Yeah, but that could be game situation, you know.
Yeah, that definitely could be. Granted, yes, I haven't seen him kick from distance that often and be successful either. But
Right.
I don't know. I actually don't mind that as much. I actually like him a little bit more this week just because Minnesota's defense is pretty solid. I think they'll be able to stop Pittsburgh enough to force a couple field goals.
That makes sense.
But I could be wrong though. They could just run roughshod on Minnesota because they have so many weapons.
Absolutely. So, in terms of what we have seen so far, week 1 to go based on or whatever, either on a fantasy level or just as a fan level, right? What really stood out to you in week 1? What was some of the more memorable plays? I mentioned in the opening that it was just very mind-boggling to me that you have Zeke playing and OBJ not playing. And a little side story to that was shortly after the game, actually probably even Monday morning, because that's when courts are open, the NFL appeals the Texas court injunction in the Ezekiel Elliott case, which you knew was going to come, that he got the furlong there, so to speak, and the NFL was going to fire back because they're pretty dead set that he did physically abuse his ex-girlfriend on multiple occasions. They say that they found evidence that law enforcement personnel could not, because all of a sudden the NFL are detectives. But,
yeah.
It could be. Obviously there has been some misgivings there, but, it's deemed a long shot. Only 7.2% of appeals for reversal were successful in 2016, but it just really shows how messy this situation is getting, and it's going to continue to get kind of a la, the Free Brady Nation and what Tom Brady had to go through with Goodell.
Absolutely, and at the end, it's going to be what it should have been all along, which is a reduced suspension, a heavily reduced suspension, like half or a third of what it was, and call it a day.
Right.
It's what it should have been off the top. And, what I don't understand is how the league, granted, yes, is he a clown? Absolutely. Does he deserve to get suspended, though? There's not enough actual evidence to tell me that he should be. I'm sorry. If law enforcement couldn't produce enough evidence to actually, make any actual charges against the man, then I don't see how the NFL can magically come up with more evidence to suggest that he actually did these things, or that these things definitely, without a shadow of a doubt, happened, and therefore, we have to suspend you for this.
Right. No, agreed, man.
Like, is he a clown? Absolutely. Like, should he be suspended for being a clown? Maybe a game or two just to be like, listen, stop being a clown. But, like, you can't actually suspend him and put out any real type of discipline for a non-real crime.
I heard that when he is actually suspended, he's going to make a couple guest appearances on baskets.
He should. He should. That'd be great.
Oh, man. But in that same game, too, I mean, it would behoove me to mention that Cole Beasley catch. I've never seen a catch like that where he actually caught it on his nameplate or finally settled it into his possession on his nameplate. Now, it derived from a poor throw from Dak Prescott that warranted that circus catch, but that was really, already one of the top plays of the year, week one.
Yeah.
What it was reminiscent to me, different body, different situation. But the Antonio Freeman catch, I believe, on Monday Night Football, I want to say it was in the early 2000s where he, juggled it up. It was Packers-Vikings.
Oh, yeah.
And he finally, caught it in between his legs and stuff like that.
I remember that.
I kind of had little flashbacks, even though, like I said, this was his back of his, neck, shoulders, on the ground, different physicality, but just circus catch nonetheless.
Yeah,
absolutely.
I don't know. That catch reminded me of the college football play 2 years ago where the receiver literally caught it on the back of the defender, rolled over, forward rolled with the defender, and held on to the ball against his back.
I remember seeing that. That was...
Yeah, that's kind of what
crazy.
that's what that catch immediately brought to my memory. It was like, oh, I remember seeing something crazy as hell like this.
Absolutely. What else stood out to you guys about week one that we haven't covered already?
Just the Los Angeles Rams in general. New helmet, which, by the way, looks ridiculous with the jerseys that they have.
Yeah.
But anyway, that's not my point. Just overall, I thought Jared Goff came out and played a much better game that just start off the season than he did last year. He looked a little bit more comfortable, making better passes. He actually has some receivers to throw to now with Sammy Watkins, even Robert Woods and Cooper Kupp. And those guys were running good routes. They look good. The defense looked good, picking off the first pass of the year, taking it into the end zone for a pick six. I think this Los Angeles Rams team is going to be somebody that, they're going to surprise a lot of people this year.
Yeah, agreed, man.
Yeah, I think they're going to be a very competitive team. I like what I saw out of Jared Goff, too. I'm not sold that he's like an up-and-coming quarterback yet or anything to that stretch, but I'm sold on he's at least a serviceable backup quarterback in this league moving forward at worst.
Right.
Like, he showed he can at least kind of play in this game.
You saw what he could do when he has actually some weapons around him.
Yeah. Now I want to see what he does week in and week out moving forward the rest of this season to see what steps he takes to make that next step. Because he's not on the Carson Wentz, Dak Prescott level yet, where they're the young ascending quarterbacks. He's not there yet.
Right.
But he's got promise now.
He does. He's got a decent offense around him, and hopefully Todd Gurley can stay healthy too.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, though, I was more surprised by Baltimore this weekend. I mean, I did not expect them shutting out Cincinnati and just completely dominating that game in the manner in which they did. I'm more shocked that Cincinnati really has fallen off to that level. I mean, they look really bad. That offensive line looked terrible. You could tell losing Seitzer and the other and Whitworth in the offseason really hurt that team.
Right.
Like, that offensive line, the left side of the offensive line looks like trash.
Right.
And you can't protect your quarterback like that. That's that and the amount of scoring that was really down across the league. I don't know if anybody else noticed that.
It was. No. I did, certainly.
Kind of going back to the point that it takes offenses a little while to really get into rhythm versus the defense. There's been a lot of low-scoring games, and I still see a lot of low-scoring games for at least another week or two as teams just get into football shape.
Yeah. No, big time. What stood out besides Baltimore? I know you said you didn't watch a lot of football this weekend, Doug, out of personal beliefs, but was there anything that disappointed you that you felt that could have been a little better?
Anything that disappointed me? I mean, I thought there was a lot of sloppy play from some of the games that I saw. A lot of penalties, a lot of drop passes, a lot of missed blocks. A lot of poor tackling I saw. Going back to the original point that, why ratings are down, which is another thing I'm going to get into a little bit in a minute. But, it was a very sloppy week opening week of football. And, like, you know, it's been like this for a few years now. And it kind of, like, it takes away a little bit of that luster from opening week of the season almost, because it's not really opening week of the season because you're not watching good, crisp, like, watchable, like, good football. You're watching, like, a lot of sloppy, almost like third, fourth preseason game football.
Right.
Where it's just not crisp. Guys are still not in football shape, or they're not in game shape. Like, guys are tired. You're seeing guys getting subbed in and out a lot. Like, it's just not a clean game.
Yeah. No, agreed. A big thing that disappointed me was, so they lifted the rule where it's no longer a penalty to celebrate in the end zone after a touchdown. I didn't see one, like, quality touchdown celebration.
No.
Maybe I might have missed something.
You missed one.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I saw a fat man dance.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Oh, Fletcher Cox.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Fletcher
yeah.
Cox. Yo, you cannot, anytime. This is the best part of seeing a fat man score, is seeing a fat man dance.
Yeah, man.
Doing the thriller, too, going from the side to side.
Yeah.
Yo, him and who was it with that did it with him? One of the other defensive linemen. on the
I
Eagles.
couldn't see who it was.
Yeah.
Yeah, they did the little thriller dance. Like, yeah, that was pretty dope. That was actually really dope. And then somebody on a pick six went and jumped into the stands and sat with the crowd and stuff. So that was pretty funny too.
But this is all things that I think would have flew last year. You know, there wasn't like
not the thriller dance.
No, not the thriller dance. I'll give you that. But, you know, like I think back to touchdown celebrations like T.O., like pulling a cell phone out of his pocket and doing a selfie.
Signing a football.
Yeah, signing a football, grabbing somebody's popcorn and throwing it up in his grill or whatnot. You know, I would have thought I would have seen like a few like maybe guys setting themselves up like bowling pins and then rolling the football and knocking them down. Like I think over the course of the season, that's something I'd like to, because I hated that rule. I thought it took away from the entertainment value. It definitely proved that the NFL stands for not fun league. Now it just stands for not free league, because it's all about money now. And I'll say that personally because it's the only reason why Ezekiel played Sunday night.
No, I mean, you're not exactly wrong there. It just kind of is what it is, and it kind of sucks. But I'm just happy they're bringing back the celebrations. It gives something to look forward to. Like even Keenan Allen, you know, who eventually got a flag for taunting. I was hoping to see something from him.
Right.
All he did was toss a football, and I guess he said something, and the ref was like, nope.
Yeah.
Hopefully we'll see more.
Yeah, well, you should see more. And thing of it is, though, is that I think these players are still, just like when you're talking about the hitting rule, that they're a little apprehensive on what they can and cannot do. Coming from this, I'm sure it's still ingrained, I can't celebrate it, we're going to get a flag. And eventually that'll wear off, you know, in terms of that memory.
Yeah, it's still illegal for Jimmy Graham to dunk the ball in the goalpost, which is bullshit.
Yeah, that is bullshit. That is bullshit. All right, boys, before we pay some bills, let's get into some of the either younger or unknown guys that everybody can stake some claim to. We talked about some of the major ones in the poll, and you can chime in now. I'll give you a quick update on the poll standings as we speak here. Wow, it's pretty even, man. You got 30% tie between Kerwin Williams and Tyreek Cohen, and then 20% tie between Austin Hooper and none. I like my team, which that's actually where I voted. Is that I don't really start making wholesale changes now. Mind you, I gotta pick up Kerwin Williams as a DJ owner, and I'm sure one of you guys are gonna snake him from me in our league, but that's fine. But generally, I don't think you really need to restructure your lineup until week 4, week 5. I think the key facet of all fantasy sports is 2 words: be patient.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
People overreact, try to grab that hot rookie because one of the guys that you loved and drafted had 1 catch for 8 yards in week 1. And then what winds up happening is after you drop that guy that you loved, that you drafted, puts up a monster performance on somebody else's fantasy team. So that's where that was where I stood on that poll. But still time to vote, people, if you want to.
Yeah, I can definitely see that. I mean, granted, the guy I'm looking to drop immediately, Kenny Britt, will not be one of those guys.
Yeah, truth.
So, you know what I mean? I mean, there's certain guys where it's like if you're taking a super flyer on a guy like I did with Kenny Britt, obviously I missed the mark. But, it's what taking a flyer is for.
Sure.
A few guys that I'm looking at in terms of ads, obviously we got Cohen. Obviously, we got Austin Hooper. But I'm big on Kenny Galloway.
Yeah.
I like Kenny Galloway this week.
He's on my list.
Obviously there. I'm big on adding Kenny Galloway this week because I think, despite the fact that this isn't going to be a week where he's going to repeat that 2-touchdown, 7-catch performance that he had last week.
4 catches, 69 yards. Love the number.
Yeah. Oh, great number. But, yeah, he's not going to do that again this week per se, but you're going to hear his name a lot this
But
season.
talk about a guy out of nowhere, a 3rd-round draft pick, 96 overall by the Lions in 2017, a guy that went under the radar, really showed that he could make a mark, and I think will continue to. I definitely like him as a waiver claim. We talked about Alvin Kamara. I think he's going to have more of a role in that Saints offense than we previously thought, based on last night. And I know it's one game. Don't want to overreact too much, but I just saw the skill set in play. And, man, the broadcasters couldn't suck his dick hard enough in that game.
No, they really couldn't.
And it was justifiable, though. The man was wrecking shop. Marlon Mack, I think, is a great add, a great waiver claim to stay clap on, especially if you have some running back issues. 10 attempts, only 24 yards, put it in the end zone, but also had 1 reception for 21 yards. Really, you said it earlier in the show, he's much more multifaceted than you gave him credit for.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. A lot more multifaceted. That being said, obviously he is a must claim at this point. Austin Hooper was already mentioned in the poll.
Mm-hmm.
The other tight end that I mentioned, Jesse James, very seldom owned tight end. He's only owned in 14% of ESPN leagues, and that's up 12.6% today. So, I mean, everybody's running out there. If you got one of these older tight ends, Antonio Gates, Jason Witten, who's not, might be very hit or miss in games. Jesse James might not be bad. I mean, move all in all, game in, game out. He's going to get 4 or 5. He's going to get 4 to 8 targets a game, or 4 to 6 targets a game.
Absolutely.
Especially in the red zone.
Another guy we talked about earlier, I think, would make a good QB2 in a 2-quarterback league, or certainly a qualifiable backup to maybe slip in the right matchup. Alex Smith, and you hit the nail right on the head, partner. He's feeling the pressure of one Patrick Mahomes. So he's definitely raising his level of play. Plus, I just like the wide receiver core better now in Kansas City in terms of more deeper threats. Tyreek Hill becomes your clear number 1. I think it was an addition by subtraction by letting Jeremy Maclin walk.
Yeah, I mean, maybe. I mean, he didn't really play, so you really couldn't. You really don't know.
Yeah, that's true.
He was just a waste of money. That's more what he was.
No. There's truth to be told there. But I think, like I said, if you only drafted one quarterback and you want to set yourself up for success during his bye week, I think Alex Smith could make a good addition, and certainly in 2 QB leagues. I would roll him out as my QB2 all day.
Yeah, I could see that. I'll add in a couple more guys real quick. Nelson Aguilar, receiver for the Eagles. I like adding him as a season-long ad. All the guys I'm mentioning, by the way, are all season-long ads. I don't do the 1-week matchup ads, and if I do, it's usually for defense,
right,
or for bye weeks, and we're a little too early for that,
right.
And I also like adding the Jaguars defense actually as a long-term league own. I think that they actually are going to surprise a lot of people. They are vastly improved on defense.
Right, absolutely. It went undrafted a lot, and I don't know why. You look at the talent on that defense, and they might be the most talented on paper in the league.
Yeah.
And I'm including the Denver Broncos in that. If you look at position per position, I think the check mark goes to the Jags. It's all about coming together as a cohesive unit. I think people were down on them actually functioning as a DST in fantasy, and we saw what they did in week 1.
Crushings.
Yep. Absolutely.
Yeah, I think that Jacksonville defense is finally starting to mold a little bit from what Gus Bradley did at the draft a couple years ago.
Absolutely. So, any more waiver claims, or should we pay some bills and then get over to baseball on the other side?
I mean, we pretty much covered everybody that needs to be covered, whether in this segment or even before. So
yeah.
I think
Hey, feel free to chime in on Facebook and YouTube chat, on our Twitter poll, and we'll definitely give the results at the end of the show. Read off any comments that you have live on the show. Speaking of which, we got Ryan Brodo chiming in. How much of a value hit is Colts tight end Jack Doyle going to take given the QB situation? He's currently my starting tight end at the moment. My answer is more than I thought. I thought actually Jack Doyle's value would raise because of the weakness in quarterback, because weak quarterbacks rely on their tight ends as safety nets. But, man, I mean, Brissett could spike his value, but he's got the big arm. I don't think he's throwing short dinks and dunks to a tight end very much.
No, he's got the big arm. He's going to definitely try and air the ball out, and they're going to try to run the ball a lot more with Brissett being a much younger player and a guy who doesn't even know the offense.
Right.
Like, let's be real. He's a guy who hasn't even been there a week. So it's really tough. I would look away from Doyle at least till Luck comes back, like week 5, week 7, because that's when I expect him back somewhere in that ballpark. If you can, I would go pick up Kobe Fleener.
Yes. Oh, absolutely.
He's only owned in 16.7% of ESPN leagues, and that's down 7.9%, despite having an okay game for opening night. 5 catches, 54 yards, and a touchdown. Not all that terrible. I mean, granted, garbage time touchdown, but, I mean, you got to take him how you get him.
Yeah. This comment was dropped a little bit ago, but I want to give some love to Truth Seeker here. He was commenting about how the Bears have no receivers at all. So how about the Tampa Bay defense as a play this week?
Normally I would say yes, and I'd be all over that. I mean, but, like, that kid Bellamy in Chicago looks pretty good.
Yeah.
He looks like a nice little player there. I can't think of his first name. Also, though, the two running back monster. I mean, Jordan Howard and Tariq Cohen. I mean, both these guys can run the ball. Tariq Cohen I haven't necessarily think can run, but catch the ball.
Absolutely. All right, guys, let's pay some bills. We'll hit up fantasy baseball playoff strategy on the other side. But this segment was brought to you by, who do I want to give love here to? I'll go Liberty Event Rentals. I haven't talked about them yet. For all your parting needs, go online, libertyeventrentals.com, or give them a call, 267-314-7368. They got tents, chairs, linens, anything you need to have a rockin'-ass party celebration. Liberty Event Rentals is the place to go. One more segment left to go, boys and girls. Like you said, we are not a one-stop shop. We'll get into some fantasy baseball playoff talk. You're listening to Fantasy Dominance Now, only on A2DRadio.com.
Welcome in to the worldwide leader of what? Real talk, A2DRadio.com.
A2DRadio.com is proudly sponsored by Gibson Mayer LLC Certified Public Accountants. Gibson Mayer, located in Yardley, PA, is a leading accounting and business consulting firm with a proven track record of handling critical issues with expertise across many different industries, including construction, distribution, hospitality, manufacturing, real estate, service trades, merchandising, professional services, and professional athletes. Give them a call at 215-369-3300. That's 215-369-3300. Your initial consultation is always free, and if you tell them that Tom and Mike from AM and the PM sent you, you'll receive 15% off all income tax services completed by February 15th. That's Gibson Mayer LLC Certified Public Accountants, 215-369-3300, or visit them on the web at www.gibsonmayer.com. That's gibsonmayer.com.
Fellas, you ever come in from that baseball or football game and your woman won't come near you because you stink beyond belief? Then you need Soap Stash. You should never settle for a generic hygiene product that only covers up the stench. Treat your skin with the best nutrients. Feel clean with the only soap you'll need. The highest grade carrier oils are ingrained in all of their products, which are 100% natural and terrific for your skin. No sulfates, parabens, or phthalates, and synthetic fragrance free. Contact Soap Stash for your sample package and give your woman what she deserves. You can contact Soap Stash at 844-890-3197 or visit them on the web at soapstash.com or Facebook at Soapstash LLC. Once again, their number is 844-890-3197. Soap Stash, the new soap standard. A2DRadio.com is sponsored by The Sports Outlet for all your sporting needs. Located 703 Black Horse Pike in Glendora, New Jersey. Give them a call at 856-939-2030 or email them at sportsoutletnj@comcast.net or visit them on the web at www.sportsoutletinc.com for all your sporting needs. The Sports Outlet.
Get your skills in shape, then contact the Scanzano Sports Center, located at 5 Carnegie Plaza in Cherry Hill, New Jersey. You can give them a call at 856-889-3434 or visit them on the web at www.scanzanosports.com. John Scanzano offers individual, semi-private, and team training lessons in hitting, pitching, catching, outfield, along with turf rentals. The Scanzano Sports Center is equipped with a 31,000 square foot indoor facility, 4 batting cages, and a 4,000 square foot strengthening and conditioning room. So what are you waiting for? Contact the Scanzano Sports Center today.
You're listening to Fantasy Dominance Now, only on A2DRadio.com.
Welcome back to today's Fantasy Dominance Now, only on A2DRadio.com. Brian Daly, Doug Pitchford, Rob Povia, Matt Sudi on the ones and twos, bringing you all the dominance. And if you want in on the action, like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter and Instagram, and subscribe to our YouTube channel. You search A2DRadio.com. If you got specific questions for us, we got the answers. Tweet us with the hashtag AskFDN, comment in our YouTube chat, comment on Facebook. Tons of places to get your questions answered leading into week 2 in the NFL. But
yes,
for some of our benefactors of a fine baseball season, the real season has begun, and that's the fantasy baseball playoffs.
Yes.
So we're going to end the show with a little fantasy baseball talk, and this is being brought to you by, let's hit up the Scanzano Sports Center again. They're very baseball affiliated. If you want your son or daughter, for that matter, to work on their skills, no finer place to go than the Scanzano Sports Center. Give them a call, 856-889-3434, or look them up online, scanzanosports.com. So raise your hand if you're in the fantasy baseball playoffs.
Woo!
Next year for you.
I'm definitely a Philly fan because that's what I say every year. Professional sports and fantasy. Oh, maybe next year.
I'm going to rattle off a couple ads that I think can help solidify your playoff team, maybe fill some injury shoes, or just make your team a little stronger heading in to your first week matchup, which most leagues are starting this week. Nicholas Castellanos. He's a guy that is revolved around the waiver wire all season. He's currently 43% owned, and he is absolutely red hot. Just give you an example real quick. Over the last 7 days, he has 10 hits and 24 at-bats, 3 of them for doubles, a homer, 5 RBIs, and that's a .417 batting average, so that's pretty good from the third base position there.
Yeah, buddy.
Matt Olson is another good ad. He's outfield and first base eligible.
I like Matt Olson a lot.
Big time.
Big
fan?
Oh, yeah. I like Olson a lot.
A lot of people do out there because he's currently 35.5% owned, and that's up 31% in the last week because in that week, 7 hits, 23 at-bats, 3 homers, a double, 3 walks, too. Good walk count there against let's see here, 4 strikeouts to 3 walks. Great ratio there for Matt Olson out in Oakland. Third batter I got, and I actually added him in a 16-team dynasty league, and that's Jose Martinez, St. Louis Cardinals. He's also outfield and first base eligible. He's 24.5% owned, which is up 23% in the last week. So people are adding him for the fantasy baseball playoffs. And on the season, he's batting .308, 13 homers, 36 RBIs, and a .372 on-base percentage, and that's in only 91 games played.
That's nice.
Absolutely. 29-year-old out of Venezuela there for the batter side. For the pitching side, real quick, my 2-start pitcher of the week is Eduardo Rodriguez versus the A's and at the Rays. 35% owned. He bounced back nicely on Tuesday versus the Blue Jays, tossing 6 innings of 2-run ball while striking out 8. And these pair of favorable matchups this week present a high K percentage opportunity, as well as both rank bottom third in runs scored this season. On May 21st, Erod went against the A's, had 8 innings, 3 runs, 8 Ks, so good track record there for one Eduardo Rodriguez. Some streaming pitchers to add for the playoffs. I added both of these guys, Andrew Kashner and Carson Fulmer.
Yeah, no, those are good options. I got a ton of pitchers in terms of potential ads, but I'll sprinkle in a couple of position players that I have right now. Tops being another Oakland A, of all people, but one we have not talked about yet. And one I don't think we've ever talked about. His name, Matt Chapman.
Matt Chapman, yeah, truth.
Third baseman. Currently on fire. He's 8 for his last 18 over his last 7 games. 2 home runs, 6 RBIs. More importantly, 6 walks to 3 strikeouts over that span.
Nice.
Only owned in 4.8% of leagues, up 0.3%. So he's available everywhere. If you're hurting for a third baseman, give this kid a shot. I mean, he's only got 7 hits. Only 7 hits in his last 15 at-bats. Just saying.
Yep.
Only. A couple other guys that I'm looking at in terms of big-time ads moving forward. Jose Reyes has been on fire lately, man. 6 for his last 24 versus his last 7 games. 2 home runs, 7 RBIs, 2 stolen bases, 4 runs scored in that span.
Playing for a job next year.
He really is. He's letting somebody know that he needs a home. Obviously, we've already mentioned Jose Martinez. Nick Williams. I'm thinking basketball now. Nick Williams has been a guy we've mentioned quite a bit. He's still only owned in 24% of ESPN leagues, and he's raking right now. 11 for his last 26, 2 home runs, 10 RBIs over that stretch. He doesn't walk, though. So if you are in a league where on-base percentage, do keep that in mind. He does strike out quite a bit. 6 strikeouts to no walks over that span. So it's not like he's striking out multiple times a game, but he's still striking out once a game. To throw an outfielder out there, another guy that could really help you out right now. He's stealing a lot of bases right now. Not this week, but has been over the last over the last 30 days. He's stolen, I believe, 11 bases over his last 30 games, 12 bases, and that's Delino DeShields Jr., outfielder for the Texas Rangers, for the red hot Texas Rangers. He also 6 for 24, home run, 3 RBIs. 7 runs scored in that span though. So he's getting on base enough and getting home. So a couple guys on the offense to add. The streaming pitchers, though, this is where the money is.
Money. Absolutely. That's what's key in the fantasy baseball playoffs.
Absolutely. I've been all over this guy the last couple weeks. I'm all in. Doug Fister this week. He's got a nice Nice start. He got a nice. It's only a 1-start week this week, though. Unfortunately, for him as a streaming pitcher, he pitches tomorrow at Oakland.
Great start.
Good start for him. It is a great start for him.
I mean, they have been. Their offense has been stepping up over the past 3 weeks or what have you. They've always been a home run threat, but they strike out a ton.
Yeah, they really do. A couple 2-start weeks on the week. These are guys that I've already added. Some of these guys I've actually owned for a while now. One guy being, yeah, buddy. One guy being Dylan Peters. I picked him up earlier this week. Great 2-start matchup for him this week. Starting tonight at Philadelphia, and then starting again on Sunday. Granted, Sunday start's not the greatest. It's at home versus Milwaukee, team that can, do some damage, but they're a team that's struggling right now offensively. So I'll take my chances there.
Sure.
Another team that's struggling offensively, Houston Astros. They've been reeling right now. Even with the addition of Justin Verlander, they've still been scuffling a little bit. Even though he's not going to give you a lot of innings, I like the ratios he'll be able to get you both in points leagues and in categories leagues. I'm rolling with Garrett Richards on the 2-start week this week. Like I said, he's pitching tonight at home versus Houston and pitches Sunday at home versus Texas. 2 not great matchups, but this is a guy who's got great career numbers against both these clubs. And more importantly, he's a top end of the rotation pitcher that's still available in most formats based on his injury history.
Absolutely. And to your point earlier, Astros have been struggling. So this might be the time as they start to get ready for their playoff run. They might have the foot off the gas a little bit, squeezing the start there at Garrett Richards. My only concern is his longevity. He's coming back from a long injury. He did have, I believe, a 3-inning start against the A's the week before.
Yeah, and it's gonna remain that way for a while. They're gonna slowly, gradually build his pitch count, build his innings limit. I'd read a report before even picking him up myself 2 weeks ago,
Right.
that they're literally just gonna let him throw about 50 pitches a start for the first couple starts, and they're gonna increase that pitch count by about 15 pitches every outing.
Sure.
So he's not going to go very deep into games, not until probably the last week of the season.
Groovy.
But there's a couple other guys too. I mean, Ronaldo Lopez. He's a touted phenom for the White Sox. Excuse me. This kid's look good, man. I mean, he's gone. Let's see. He's had 5 starts now. 4 of his 5 starts have been quality starts. He's gone 3 of those 5 outings with at least 6 strikeouts, and in only 3 outings has he allowed 3 runs or more.
Right.
So I mean, this kid's impressive, man. And 2 of those 3 outings were exactly 3 runs.
There you go.
Kid looks good. Kid's legit. Lucas Giolito also for the White Sox. I'm loading up on White Sox pitching right now. I mean, this man added Carson Fulmer. Granted, you did have the injury to Carlos Rondon, who was pitching pretty well coming off the DL. These 2 kids, as well as Fulmer, they're pitching for a team that's actually playing very good baseball right now down the stretch. Just because they're a bad team doesn't mean they're not playing well. You always roll with good playing teams down the stretch.
And in case you're unfamiliar with Lucas Giolito, he was the prize prospect that the Nationals traded to the White Sox for Adam Eaton. Yeah. So, very high-touted prospect there that they got on his hands, see how he can perform and show for next year. Real quick, I'm going to go into the NL and AL Player of the Week because it's an opportunity to puff my chest, gentlemen, if you get, because both the NL and AL Players of the Week are on my soon-to-be repeat championship team in my league.
Oh, here we go. The tote.
We got J.D. Martinez in the NL, 7 home runs this past week, which was bookend by a 4 home run performance and a 2 home run performance, 11 RBIs, and a slash line of 429, 448, and 1,214. Been absolute beast and has actually raised his batting average since being traded to the Diamondbacks. AL Player of the Week, Eric Hosmer, 5 extra base hits, 8 RBIs. Got him from this gentleman over here to my right. Batted .538.
Me?
Yes. Yeah. Batted .538, 586, 885 slash. Another first baseman on my team is Jose Abreu, who hit for the cycle Saturday, hit 2 home runs Sunday, but that wasn't enough for AL Player of the Week. I'm fucking stacked, dude. I'm ready to take this league down.
Good. Keep puffing your chest. I'll see you next week to go smackety smack.
Good luck. I was about to say good luck in your matchup. And Brian, important thing too, and this might be true for a lot of leagues, sometimes the consolation ladder is for number 1 pick. Get that number 1 pick, man. Represent
I honestly haven't even been paying attention to my baseball team.
No, understandable. It's football season. Good luck, everybody, in week 2 of your matchups. Good luck in your playoff matchups for baseball. For Brian Daly, Doug Pitchford, Rob Povey, and Matt Studio on the 1s and 2s. This has been Fantasy Dominance Now. Keep it there, 3 o'clock, Hockey Happy Hour, only on A2DRadio.com.
Peace and love, y'all. Woo!